Hello everyone. So in this video I am going to tell you about the infective endocarditis. In this I am going to explain you about the definition of infective endocarditis, then its causes, then its clinical features, and after that we are going to talk about its treatment and diagnosis. So first let's talk about its definition. So definition of the endocarditis. So here is the definition. So in endocarditis, first we have to learn that what does it means. So here as suffix is itis, it means that there is inflammation. So in this there is inflammation. Okay, after that we have to see that the endocardium means endocardium is the layer of the heart. So here endocardium means the inflammation of endocardium is going on, and why it is going on? Due to infective means infection. So due to infections the endocardium is in endocardium there is inflammation is going on, and this have the highest mortality rate. Please remember it, infective endocarditis has the highest mortality rate. So now as for the definition of written purpose, let's write its definition. So it is the condition. So it is the condition in which patient endocardium is colonized by microbial agents and there the microbes are actively multiplying. Where they are multiplying in the endocardium. So multiplying in endocardium, and also they damaging the endocardium. So this is the definition of the endocarditis, infective endocarditis. So condition in which the patient endocardium is colonized by microbial agents like the bacteria, like the virus, like the fungi, but mostly in this case infective endocarditis bacteria is the most common. In bacteria also Staph aureus is the most common, and these microbes are multiplying there, and they are further damaging the endocardium. So this is the definition of infective endocarditis. So for infective endocarditis, like endocarditis are so many types. So for a short note, let's learn types of endocarditis, like SLE related endocarditis. So SLE related endocarditis. Then we have merenteric endocarditis. We have merenteric endocarditis. We have a carcinoid syndrome, in which also due to carcinoid syndrome endocarditis will occur. So carcinoid syndrome. Okay. After that we have rheumatic endocarditis. And we also have the infective endocarditis, which we are studying now. So now the types of the endocarditis. So for the purpose of sake, we have the two types of endocarditis, two types of infective endocarditis. First one is the acute, and the second one is the subacute endocarditis, subacute infective endocarditis, acute infective endocarditis. So in this, what is the difference? So in these condition, what is the difference? So please listen it very carefully. In acute infective endocarditis, the heart is healthy, means the bacteria which goes and damage the endocardium, so that part of endocardium is new one, means there is no previous infection on that endocardium. So that is the healthy heart. In healthy heart the endocarditis will occurring, while in the subacute infective endocarditis, so basically it is occurring where previously also there was infection occurring. So on that same place another infection is occurring and it leads to infective endocarditis. So that is known as subacute endocarditis. So it is usually, so let's write their difference. So it is usually occur on predisposing pathological condition, predisposing pathological condition in heart, while the acute infective endocarditis, it is usually occurring in healthy endocardium. So it is usually occur in healthy endocardium. So this is the difference between the acute and subacute infective endocarditis. It is occurring in healthy endocardium while it is occurring in predisposing pathological condition in the heart, or we can say pathological condition of endocardium. So now their difference, like which features will occur. So as in the acute endocarditis, so in this Staph aureus. Staph aureus is a most virulent factor. So this is a highly virulent organism. So in acute endocarditis we have highly virulent organism, while in this the Streptococcus viridae, Streptococcus viridae is there, and in this low virulence it is. So it is low virulence organism. Low virulence organism cause subacute, while highly virulence organism cause the acute infective endocarditis. Now the clinical features from here. So in this the clinical features here is, first one, in this high grade fever will be there. In this high grade fever will be there, while in the subacute infective endocarditis there is low grade fever. Low grade fever is there. So this is the first one, high grade fever and the low grade fever. So in this destructive lesions will develop very rapidly. So in this cardiac complications will occur. So cardiac complications will occur, and in this destructive lesions, so destructive lesion occur very rapidly, while in the subacute it occurs slowly, slowly. So slow destruction and slowly it is occurring, while in this we see the leukocytosis. In this we see the leukocytosis will occur in the acute infective endocarditis, while leukopenia will occur in the subacute infective endocarditis, and in this a specific feature will occur. So specific features will occur, while in the subacute non-specific features will occur. Non-specific features will occur. So basically in the like here I told you that the predisposing pathological conditions in the heart. So what do I mean that? So predisposing pathological conditions, I mean that there is like abnormal blood flow is there, like mitral valve prolapse or bicuspid aortic valve or the calcific aortic valve is there. So in this the all these conditions were like, and like a ventricle septal defect is there. So predisposing pathological conditions were those conditions. So how how it will affect the endocardium. So please listen it here, the mechanism how it works. So suppose this is our endocardium of our heart. So here what will happen, that when there is abnormal jet flow, so due to abnormal jet flow is there, so it strike like this one. Due to abnormal jet flow, our endocardium, the endothelial lining of the layer, endocardium is injured. So as it injured, so on the endocardium, if it injured, there it loses the anticoagulant activity. It loses the anticoagulant activity. So as the anticoagulant activity will lose, then what will happen? So here anticoagulant activity it loses and it becomes the procoagulant. It becomes the procoagulant state. So in procoagulant it sticks the platelet with towards. So platelets will get sticked and platelets get aggregated there. So a microthrombi will form. A microthrombi will form here. Now this microthrombi is formed. So suppose here this is a microthrombi. So behind this, here bacteria will grow. So as the bacteria got settled there, so bacteria settle there. So bacteria settle there and the bacteria make the microcolonies, because this microthrombi act for them a hiding place. So bacteria were growing there. So after the bacteria will growing there, so they are further damaging our endothelial cells. So they are more and more bacteria will settle there, and if this microthrombi get dislodged from this position, then it will form the abscess or ring abscess in our body. So this is the whole mechanism how the endocardium get damaged and what will happen after it get damaged. Now the causes of the endocardium. So here I am going to tell you about the causes of the infective endocarditis. So first one is the due to the bacteria. In bacteria the most common is the Staph aureus. The most common is the Staph aureus is the most common. After that, which bacteria is the, so after that it also caused by the IV drug abusers. So those person who are taking the drugs like opioids, something like this. So due to IV drug abusers also the endocarditis will occur. And IV drug abusers mostly cause the right-sided endocarditis. It mostly cause the right side endocarditis, which is due to the Staph aureus. Okay. After this, like the Enterococci also cause it, and the fungal, due to fungus also it will occur. And which fungal? Basically the Candida or Aspergillus. The Candida or Aspergillus. And it is also caused by the like prosthetic wheels, due to prosthetic wheels, because due to prosthetic wheels Staph aureus or Staph aureus get enter, and it will cause the endocarditis. And regurgitation smears are more vulnerable to endocarditis than the stenotic lesions. So all this, and also the gram negative bacteria also cause, like gram negative bacteria we have one mnemonic, that is the HAC, HACEK, HAC. So H represents the Haemophilus, A is for Actinobacillus, C is for the Cardiobacteria, A is for the Echinella, and K is for the Kinganella. So please remember it. Gram negative bacteria also cause it. And the mitral valve is the most commonly involved in infective endocarditis. This is a very highlighted point. Please remember it, that the mitral valve is most commonly involved in infective endocarditis. So please remember it. And in this in the children, ventricle septal defect is more common than the patent ductus arteriosus. And in this vegetation will forms. So vegetations were growing in the surface of the valve, and if they get embolized, then embolism will form, and it can cause like death, due to which death also occurs in the patient. So these were the causes of the infective endocarditis. After the infective endocarditis, like we have to note that there were what were the clinical features. So for the clinical features, let me tell you, like for the clinical features, Here I am going to write about the clinical features of the infective endocarditis. So for in the infective endocarditis, first is the fever. So fever is more than 38 degrees Celsius. Please remember it. Fever is more than 38 degrees Celsius. And here I want to tell you, if a patient is come and he tell you that he has a fever, and when you heard the sound, a fever with murmur sound is coming, then you can take it as a infective endocarditis and treat it like a infective endocarditis. So infective endocarditis, you can give him treatment of infective endocarditis. Now in this, what were the features? Like fever is more than 38 degrees Celsius, and you have to measure it on the two occasions. Okay. Now if there is hypersensitivity, three reactions will occur. And if the due to hypersensitivity reactions, like antigen or antibody complex will form, and if it is circulating in blood, then it can deposit in multiple parts of our body, and they activate the complex. And if this complex get deposit under the nails, so if it get deposited under the nails, then that is splinter hemorrhage will occur. Splinter hemorrhage will occur, and this splinter hemorrhage is due to the complex deposited under the nails. Please remember it, under the nails complex is deposited. And Osler's node will occur. And in this, these basically Osler nodes are very inflammatory and very painful lesions, but they are on the fingertips. Please remember it, they are on the fingertips, and all these antigen antibody complex will deposited. That's why it is occurring. And if there are Janway lesions will seen in this, so in the Janway lesions, sometimes some destructive lesions form on the palms or plantar aspect of our foot, and patient develop the multiple hemorrhagic lesions, and these hemorrhagic lesions were called the Janway lesions, which were seen on the plantar surface or on the palmar surface area. After this, we have the in our eyes we see the Roth spots. Roth spots will see, and it is seen in the retina, and these were circular or boat-shaped hemorrhages lesions with pale yellow center in that. So please remember it. Roth spot is also the clinical feature of the infective endocarditis. And also the patient may have the diffuse glomerulonephritis will occur due to the complex deposition in the glomerulus. So diffuse glomerular nephritis will occur. And in this hematuria or proteinuria, you will find proteinuria or hematuria you will find. So after this, for measuring it, we have, for identifying the infective endocarditis, we have we have Duke criteria. So that is most important for identification of the infective endocarditis. Please remember it, Duke's criteria. So in this Duke's criteria, what we study in Duke's criteria, we have major and minor. Criteria. So in major criteria, we have two things, while in the minor criteria, we have the 5 things which we have to check. So for identification of infective endocarditis, if we find that there were one major criteria is present, and 3 minor criteria is present, then we can diagnose that it is a infective endocarditis. Or we can say that 5 minor criteria is there, then also we can identify that it is a infective endocarditis. Or we find 2 major criteria, then also we diagnose that these were the infective. The diagnosis of this is a infective endocarditis. So now what were the major and minor criteria? So in the major criteria, what we have to check. So in the major criteria, we have two things, that is the echocardiography and the blood culture. So in major criteria we have the blood culture, and the blood culture that we do, we have to find that the out of 3 sets, if 2 were present of the same organism, please remember it, same organism. So out of 3 sets, if 2 were positive out of 3 of the same organism, then it is one major criteria. Or we can and we can take the blood at the gap of 2 hours. So at gap of 2 hours we have to take the blood culture drawn, and if any one of out of 3 culture is positive for the Coxiella burnetii, please remember it, if out of 3 only one is positive for the Coxiella burnetii, then it is cause of Q fever. Please remember it, that it is cause of Q fever. The second major criteria is the echocardiography, that is the echocardiography. And on the echocardiography, what we find the vegetations. We see the vegetations which were more than 2 mm, and if they are more than 2 mm, then it means they are visible. Or we can say the valve abscess, or we can say the ring abscess we find ring abscess, or we can see any perforation, or we can say a partial dehiscence of prosthetic valve, partial dehiscence of prosthetic valve. And one criteria is also added in the major criteria, that is the new onset murmur in, so murmur is heard, that is the new onset murmur is heard in pre-existing heart disease, So these were the major criteria. One is the echocardiography, the blood culture. Well, in the minor criteria, we have the 5 things. So in the minor criteria, we have 5 things. So what were those 5 things? So in the minor criteria, we have 5 things. First one is the, like, if the patient is predisposing to the intravenous drug abuser, or the patient has cardiac abnormality. So predisposing. So first factor is the predisposing. So in predisposing, either he is taking the IV drug abuser, or he is having a cardiac abnormality. And the second minor criteria is the fever, that is more than 38 degrees Celsius. And if there is any immunological or vascular sign, I means to the that you find any Roth spot, ocular nodes, or you can find any Janway lesions or subacute immunological or vascular sign if you find. So in immunological, I told you, that is for immunological, please remember it, ROG. ROG. R stands for Roth spot. O stands for ocular node. G stands for, that is post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, that is PSGN. So this is the ROG, for immunological sign. And for the vascular sign, we have to learn that any mycotic aneurysm, if you find any mycotic aneurysm, or you can find subarachnoid hemorrhage or intracranial hemorrhage, or any conjunctival hemorrhage, any kind of hemorrhage, or you can find any Janway lesion. Please remember that Janway lesion is not any immunological, it is a vascular lesion. Or you can find any erythematous macules in palms and soles. So all these were the vascular sign. So please remember it that Janway lesion is not an immunological, it is a vascular sign. So these were the major and minor criteria, and after this we have to give the treatment to the infective endocarditis patient. So in the treatment what we give, so for the treatment we give like antibiotics because bacteria were causing the infective endocarditis. So we give like ampicillin, we give ampicillin. So if the patient is having a gram positive culture positive, then we give ampicillin. If it is gram negative, then we give the gentamicin, or we can also give the methicillin or vancomycin if the patient is IV drug abuser, or if the patient is methicillin resistant staph aureus will be there, then we give vancomycin. So after the 72 hours of the culture sensitivity report available, so depending on the report, we manage that patient. By giving the which type of bacteria it is, either it is gram positive or gram negative. So these were the treatment. Or also we can give the ceftriaxone. Which is a third generation cephalosporin. So which is a third generation cephalosporin. These all we can give. Now in the ending of it, I want to tell you about those points which I told you now in starting, that there are 5 types of endocarditis. So in that, so in this there is merenteric endocarditis. So in merenteric endocarditis, what will happen? So basically in merenteric endocarditis, merenteric word means that there is a person who has a hypercoagulable blood, and who has hypercoagulable blood. So due to hypercoagulable blood, it causes the endocarditis. So that endocarditis, it is maybe due to burn or due to any cancer of the pancreas, merenteric endocarditis will occur. Well, in the rheumatic heart disease, as we all know, in rheumatic immune complex, due to immune mediated damage, it leads to rheumatic endocarditis to the mitral valve. Because if immune mediated damage to mitral valve will occur, then multiple small vegetation will form along the line of the closure, that will cause the rheumatic endocarditis. While in the Liebman-Sack or like SLE related endocarditis, other name is Liebman-Sack endocarditis. So in this, what will happen? There is a immunological process form on any side of the valve, and it causes the severe inflammation of the valve, and it lead to Liebman-Sack endocarditis. Well, in the carcinoid syndrome, what will happen? These tumor basically will found in the GIT, and if they produce some active product, then they goes to the liver by the portal vein, and then their first tumor is like in the GIT, and the second tumor will occur in the liver, and from the liver they enter into the heart, and from the heart they enter into the lungs. Like if their product from the lungs enter into the heart, then it means the primary product is in the liver and the secondary tumor is in the heart. So this is a type of a carcinoid syndrome. So that's all what I want to tell you about the infective endocarditis. I hope you get benefit of this video. Thank you. Bye bye guys.